Andrew from Jonesy's Auto Club, and today's project is a Dodge Caravan. And the reason why it came to us was because the customer said it was angry. The reason why he said it was angry was because it was just making a bunch of noise driving down the road, which turned into a pretty easy diagnostic for us, and I will show you why. Take a quick listen. You hear that noise? That's the sound of a completely worn out wheel bearing. That's a dead giveaway for a worn out wheel bearing, is when it makes a lot of noise like that. Also, you can see if you kind of vertically grab a hold of the tire and then rock it, it'll move a little bit, and that also says it's worn out. Let's compare this to the other side real quick, which is not a completely worn out wheel bearing. And you'll notice that when you spin this one, not a whole lot of sound. Okay, now that I've removed the tire, I gotta get the brake drum off. And sometimes, in very rare occurrences, you can just pull these off. In this situation, and in most situations, you can see it's not gonna come off of there. You can always try taking a dead or soft blow hammer and smacking the drum a few times and see if you can break the rust free around the inside of the drum here. But usually what you have to do is they'll have a couple of threaded holes. These are going to be metric holes. So you're going to have to go searching through your big old pile of metric bolts and search around until you find a couple that fit the threads. So you'll just feed those in there till they seat, like so. And then once you get those started, you'll just start to drive them down evenly. So do a little bit on one side, then switch to the other side, and then you'll see it breaks it free. And you should be able to just pull it right off. In which case, the shoes now are seated into the drum, so in some circumstances you'll have to back the shoes off using the adjuster to be able to remove the drum. Okay, as you can see now, I've pulled the drum all the way off, and now you can see our bearing assembly. Here's our new one, and they actually call these a unit bearing. And the reason why they call it that is because it's just one complete assembly or one complete unit. So to replace this, you'll notice this matches this right here, and you'll see it's mounted by 4 bolts. These 4 bolts are all very easily accessible. You can see them right on the back side of the backing plate here. So to remove those, I'm going to use a 3/8 impact with a 3-inch extension and an 18mm wobbly. Okay, now back here you can see the 4 bolts now. There's 2 on top that are very easily accessible. The 2 on the bottom are a little bit more of a challenge because the leaf spring mount kind of gets in your way, and that's why I'm using the wobbly. You'll probably have to find your own configuration of sockets and extensions to get in there if you don't have this set up, but it shouldn't be too hard to come up with something. So we'll just go ahead and start removing these now. Okay, I've removed the 4 bolts, and what you'll notice now is that those 4 bolts also hold the backing plate. So you'll see the whole entire assembly is loose now, and I can't just pull this out of here, so I'm going to take a hammer and just try tapping on the back side and see if I can break it free that way. Okay, as you can see now, I've gotten the old unit bearing out and I'm ready to put the new one in. When you remove that, then the backing plate becomes really loose, so I placed these 2 bolts back in there, and I'm going to use those to help align all the holes back up so I don't have to fight it much when I pound it back in there. One thing you'll notice is that these aren't symmetrical. One set of these bolts is closer together than the other. That's the top set, so make sure you note that when you're going to put it back in. And then you'll just slide it into place. Just get a couple threads started, and then you might have to tap yours in, or you might be able to push in. That one you can see just slid right in there, no problem. Depending if you have any burrs or rust, you might have to pound it in a little bit, and I'd recommend using a soft blow if you're going to do that. So now I'll just get all 4 bolts placed in there, and then we'll drive those in. Okay, now we're down to our last bolt, and our bearing's fully installed now. So as you can see, everything's back to being nice and tight, and I can go ahead and reassemble everything. One thing to note here real quick is that if you're doing this job and you're in need of rear brakes, it's great to do them at the same time because you already have access to everything. But as for me, you can see there's tons of lining left on my brake shoes. There's no reason to do the brakes at this point, so we're just going to put it all back together. Alright, as you can see, this is a really easy project. It would be no problem to do this in the driveway up on some jack stands. You can hear that at all, I don't know, but there's no longer that gravelly feeling. There's no noise to it. You can see this has completely fixed our problem.